Thanks to the Web3 Summit team for having me. I will be talking about the Erasure protocol. Our pitch is that the next Snowden is going to be using the Erasure protocol, so you can be the judge of that. Let's get started. I work for Numerai. Numerai is a hedge fund, and we run a data science competition. The way that it works is that data scientists get the data that we provide to them. We use some kind of obfuscation so they don't know what the data is. They provide us with their predictions, but they keep ownership over their models. So the idea that we got for building this framework was actually quite simple. It was that we don't actually need to see what someone is doing if they're willing to put skin in the game. And that actually leads to much better predictions. This has been true because we've been trading on these predictions for the last 3 years, and it's been extremely successful. So we were sort of wondering, how come there aren't more people doing it? Why are there not more applications out there that use these basic primitives that Web3 is enabling to build completely new products that are never before seen? We haven't seen it being done very well, so we built Erasure to try to help with that. So we think that there's some fundamental things about the internet that are broken today. And these are actually small problems that you can sort of tackle one by one without building an entirely new infrastructure from the start. Some of these problems are like CAPTCHA, which is the default way to do bot protection or to do Sybil resistance. Another one is that the past is easily forgotten. I mean, how many people have you seen make crazy predictions on Twitter just to have them be buried in their feed and never referred to again? But on the off one that succeeds, they're able to link to it and seem like prescient human beings. And the third one is that local knowledge is undervalued. As users of the internet, you sort of populate all these different servers with your data, but you're not really rewarded for it. That's because your data at the individual level isn't worth much. But I think everyone in this room has some knowledge, some information that is valuable to someone else. There just isn't a real way to discover it today. So I sort of talked about these problems, but we built 2 more applications above the ones that we already use for a hedge fund that prove that these are solvable today. So the first use case is Orator Quant. It's a stock picking tournament that's used to crowdsource alpha on the US stock market. It works essentially as just a Web3 website. We've built out some key components of it, like key management, encrypted data storage, a fiat to crypto on-ramp, and an abstraction that hides away all of the crypto assets, as well as infrastructure for running oracles that validate and provide scoring to this tournament. And our goal with building this is to provide a template that anyone can use to build their own tournament using the same network of data scientists and apply it to a variety of different use cases. The second application we built is even more generic. We call it Erasure Bay. It's an open marketplace for information of any kind, much like Pirate Bay was for a long time, but now it has some of the key primitives of Web3 baked into it. We have high availability decentralized storage that's indexed and sort of easily to browse and access. We've also implemented these series of smart contracts that allow for custom staking rules. And then the third one is the trustless file re-encryption, the ability to send these files to a counterparty without engaging in some kind of trusted relationship. There's really 3 primitives behind both of these applications that we're trying to target here. Recourse, building track record, and executing payments. Recourse is this skin in the game item that I talked about earlier. It's about being able to stake some value credibly and allow someone else to take an action like burning it, which is a punishment in the case that I don't fulfill my mandates. The second one is track record. I need to be able to have a verifiable history of all my transaction on the protocol. I need to be able to prove that I knew something at a given point in time by time stamping that data on the blockchain. and revealing it at a later point in time. And our third component is payments. And that's the ability to do programmable escrows through the use of smart contracts. We really believe that cooperation can evolve in any population, even if they're engaged in one-time anonymous interactions. This is sort of the work that neuroeconomics has brought us, which is that humans are actually baked in to want to collaborate and cooperate if they're given the right tools to do so. This research in particular talks about how altruistic punishment means that individuals are willing to punish others at a cost, even if they don't have a rational interest in doing so, even if they don't yield any material gain. And that using this primitive, you're able to enable cooperation in a population of users. If you don't have it, then you have a market-breaking problem. Cooperation breaks down, people don't trust each other, people aren't willing to engage. So we took these components and we baked them into some smart contracts, built some tooling on top of it to be able to access them and use them quite easily. And this was sort of our core requirements going into it. It has to be decentralized from the start, no trusted parties, no shut-off switch. It must have a single source of truth. To build this track record, you need to be able to point to it. To point to it, it needs to be coherent and impossible to modify. It needs to be future-proof. It needs to be able to bake in additional innovations that are going to come down the line. If someone comes up with a new decentralized oracle that's just mind-blowing, it needs to be able to bake into this. And then finally, it needs to be modular, to be able to tolerate any potential security vulnerabilities without taking down the whole system. To do this, we just used EIP 1167, which is clone factories. I've highlighted a couple interesting components of it, which is there's a single source of truth registry where all the data that you submit to the protocol is timestamped and added to. All of these recourse actions, all these agreements are put into this registry. It's also modular, where each instance is a clone of a given template, but completely distinct from each other. And then finally, it's extensible and future-proof, because adding to the protocol is as easy as creating a new template. There's still quite a few unsolved challenges in building these Web3 ecosystems and these Web3 applications. One of them is fully featured smart contract wallets. So if we go back a couple slides to Eraser Quant, I talked a little bit about key management. Right now, a lot of the crypto wallets are great for holding coins. They're great for signing transactions and submitting them to the network. But they need to be able to go beyond that. They need to be able to provide baked-in security, baked-in key recovery, baked-in encryption key management. A full vault system that not only controls your coins, but also your data. It stores your personal data, it encrypts your personal data, and it allows you to delegate access to it on a per-need basis. Decentralized oracles and arbitration. This is the altruistic punishment is a great tool. It really enables us to create these new applications, but it's not the perfect tool for everything. There's still some use cases that require some kind of consensus around a single source of truth, not just an outcome. And for those, decentralized oracles are absolutely necessary. And then the last one is trustless and private computation. The ability to do computation off-chain in a private manner and bring it back on-chain without trusting these people bringing it back online is incredibly useful. So if you want to learn more about it, erasure.xxx, we have a grants program which we're giving away $1 million for people that are looking to build these applications that use these simple primitives. We're also hosting a conference in September in San Francisco, and as always, hiring. So it was great speaking with you guys here. I'll take a couple questions if there are any, and thanks for having me.